the paper pilot here, back with another video. Today we're going to be solving maths paper 5, probability and statistics 1 of February-March 2026. It's a very recent paper, so we're going to solve them, since I know that for the AS students up there on 12th May, you guys are going to have your S1. Probably going to pray for all you guys for sure. So the first question we have here is, a club has 12 members, of which 7 are men and 5 are women. A committee of 4 members is to be chosen from these 12 members. The key word here is chosen. Since it's chosen, it's not permutation, it's combination. That's what we're going to use, combination. Alright, so it says find the probability that a randomly chosen committee includes at least 2 men. It says at least, that means it can be, more than 2. Right? More than or equals to 2. It can be 3, it can be 4, it can be 5, it can be 6. The possibilities are all the way from 2 to 7. So how many possibilities? The first is that there are 2 men and 2 women. That works. Or there can be 3 men, because the total has to be 4, right? 3 men and 1 woman, or 4 men and 0 women, or 4 men and 1 woman and 0 woman. Yep, there cannot be any woman. The question didn't specify that there has to be women, so these are the 4 possibilities. So out of 7 men we can take 2, and out of 5 women we can take 2, and out of 7 men we can take 3, 5 women we can take 1, out of 7 we can take 4, and we won't take any women, so 5 is 0. So this leads to 210, 175 and 35. All right, so we add all this up, and the total we get is 420. This is not the answer because it says probability, so we have to divide that by the total number of ways this can be selected. The total number of ways can be selected is, the total number of people here is actually 12. So out of 12 you're selecting 5, so 12C5 is the total, which is 12C5 is 792. So the probability is 120 by 792, which is simplified to 5 over 33, which is the final answer. Alright, I hope you guys understood that. If you didn't, make sure to comment down below. We'll make sure to explain it clearly. So the next question we have, oh guys, we made a small mistake. It's not 12C5, it's 12C4. Sorry, it's 12C4. It's gonna be 495. Right, 495. Sorry, my bad. That means this answer is also going to be different. Oopsie daisy, hold up, just fix this. So the actual answer is actually 28, right? Alright, fair enough. So the next question we have here is on, it's on again, permutation combination. Okay, so since there are letters given, we can probably already say that it is going to be permutation. So find the number of different arrangements of the letters in the word attentive, in which the 2 E's are together but the 3 E's are not all together. So the word is attentive, right? So attentive. Okay, so the first condition given is that the 2 E's are together. Okay, so let me just first make a space. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the 2 E's are together, right? So let's put 1 E over here and 1 E over there. Okay, you cross them out. So the 2 E's are together, but it says that the 3 T's are not all together. So what I first need to find is the condition where all of them are together. Then I subtract it from the total where only 2 E's are together. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write all the three t's together. Okay. Now I'm gonna find the number of ways it's gonna be arranged. So 1, 2, just think of them as one unit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is 6 factorial, 6 ways. And yeah, that's it. 6 ways, which is 6 factorial, which is 720. And the total number of ways it can be arranged is actually the same thing, except we except for the fact that we cannot include this. We cannot include this, right? This time we have to only include the two, that the e's are together, not the t's, right? That's the total number of ways. So how can this be arranged? It's going to be arranged by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 factorial, but you have to divide it by 2 factorial since there are not 2 factorial, 3 factorial. No, 2 factorials, 3 factorials. There are 3 t's, which we get as 8 factorial by 3 factorial, which we get is 6720. So you subtract these, 6720 minus 720, which is your answer. 6,000. That's your final answer, right? Very simple, right? Next question is, find a number of different arrangements of the 9 letters in the word attentive, again, in which there are at least 4 letters between the two e's. Again, it says at least, so it can be greater than 4. It can be 5 letters difference, or 6 letters, or 7 letters, or whatever. So again, the same old. Just give the 7, 9 blanks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. So at least 4. So first of all, think of as the first letter E, okay? And there are 4 letters. First of all, let's consider 4 letters only. So let's just say 4 letters, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 key be over here. But who says the E has to be at the front? It can be over here. If it's over here, then over here it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4. The E should be here. If it's over here, then 1, 2, 3, 4. It should be here. If it's over here, then 1, 2, 3, 4. It's here. And if the E is here, then 1, 2, 3, 4. There's no other way you can do that with 4. So yeah, that's the last possibility. Now for 5-letter difference. Okay, for 5 letters difference. So yeah, let's try that actually. For 5-letter difference, we'll just copy this. Makes things so much easier. Okay, Miss. You know what? Let's do it like this. It's better this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right. So let's put 1 over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 over there. 1 over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 over there. 1 over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 over there. And if you put 1 over here, it's not gonna work out. So 3 possibilities. But what about for 6 letters difference? So we put 1 over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1 over there and over there. So it's gonna be 6 letters difference, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 can be here. 2, 3, 4, 4. Wait, that's 5 letters. Sorry. Should be here, or the E can be here, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. E can be here, or E can be here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. E can be there. Or it can be actually 7 letters. Heck, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It can be 8 letters as well. So basically the point is that It can be 4 letters, 5 letters, 6 letters, 7 letters, or 8 letters. So what I do here is I find the condition for 1 and then I multiply them, because overall these are just the same thing all over again. So what I'm trying to say is, what do we get here? There's how many blanks are there? You don't include the e's. Later you include the e's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So after you put down the e's, there are 7 different ways the 7 letters can be arranged. That's why you're gonna write 7 factorial divided by 3 factorial, since there are 3 t's. Don't forget that. And this we have to multiply with the number of ways we can actually do this, which is there's 1 way, 2 way, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is for 6 letter. For 7 there is actually 2 more ways, and for 8 there's 1 more way, which means that the total number of ways that can be done is actually 10. Right. So the final answer is 840. Answer. It's going to be done 10 different ways. Include this plus a few for 7 for 8. Now we have a graph question, which is actually solved beforehand, since it's a hassle to solve on stream, right? On video. So basically the question which says is that you have to draw a cumulative frequency graph of the time and the frequencies given. So there's some things that you guys need to clear up. First of all, in a cumulative frequency graph, you have to first write down the row of cumulative frequency, which basically means you have to add the frequency until you get the total, right? For example, over here it's 4, right? So I wrote 4. 11, 4 plus 11, 15. 15 plus 14, 29. And on and on and on and on and on and on until we reach 150. So these are going to be plotted in the y-axis, while the time is going to be plotted in the x-axis. Now the range is given here. Okay, as you guys can see in cumulative frequency, it's a continuous graph, right? There cannot be any gaps in between, right? So but over here the range is from 5 to 9 to 10 to 11. So what about the time or the data between 9 and 10? That's not given. So we have to fix this. This is a continuity correction, right? So basically what do is you subtract 0.5 from everywhere, right? So 5 minus 0.5, 4.5, and 10 minus 0.5. Basically, you subtract all the ranges from 0.5. So the new ranges are actually this. Right. These are the new ranges. New ranges, right, that we get. Now from this, what you do is basically, for cumulative frequency graph, you take the highest range value. So from here, 9.5 is highest. From 9.5 you plot 4, from 14.5 you plot 15, from 19.5 you plot 29, from 29.5 you plot 55, and from 39.5 you get 109. From this you plot the graph and try the smoothest curve as you guys can draw, alright? It has to be pretty smooth, but not as smooth, alright? Just try to draw as smooth as you can, alright? It cannot be like, completely horizontal or whatever. This part is just... It has to be smooth, alright? So next question we have is, use your graph to estimate the 16th percentile of the times taken to travel to college by these 150 students. So basically what 16th percentile means is 60% of the total. The total is 150. So what is 60% of 120? That's 90. So on the graph you see where 90 crosses. So for example, 90 is around here, right? Crosses here, which is around 30 to 40, which is actually 37.5. Not exact, since I actually did it beforehand, right? Somewhere around here, okay? Somewhere around here, this value, which comes out to be 37.5, which is the answer. So it says, calculate and estimate for the mean of the times taken to travel to college by 150 students. So what is mean? Mean is summation of fx by the total of frequency. So over here, as you guys can see, we're given a range, right? So what you do is find the midpoint of this range. So what is the midpoint from 4.5 to 9.5? 7, right? So 7 into 4. You multiply the midpoints with the frequency, and you add them all up, divided by the total frequency, which is 150, and you should get 33.55. Now, this should be in 3SF, since all the answers is 3SF, so the answer is actually 3.6. Right, always 3SF, guys, always 3SF. So next question we have is, Suri has a bag containing 4 discs, right? 4 discs and 4 blue discs and 3 yellow discs. She selects one disc from the bag at random, notes its color, and returns it to the bag. So basically, with replacement, she repeats this process until she obtains a yellow disc, which means she keeps picking the balls from the bag, the discs from the bag, until she actually gets a yellow disc. Right, okay. So this clearly seems like a geometric progression, but let's be sure. Find the probability that Suri obtains a yellow disc for the first time on her fourth selection. Okay, so she takes 4 different blocks, four different discs, and the first 3 discs that she takes is not yellow. So what's the probability of not yellow? Probability of not yellow is 4 out of 7. So the first 3 times she takes not yellow, which means 4 out of 7 into 4 out of 7 into 4 out of 7 3 times, or you can just cube it. Actually, it's much better. 4 out of 7 cube into, she finally gets a yellow disc, which is 3 out of 7. Geometric progression. So let me just write this. Geo 4 out of 7, 3 out of 7, right? So what do we get here? We get the value of 0.08, right? That is your answer. Now find the probability that Suri obtains a yellow disc for the second time on her 5th selection, which means she picks 5 discs, right? And she obtains yellow twice because it says the second time, which means she gets it again on her first try. So think of it as like this, right? There are 5 times she takes 5 blocks, right? 5 discs. So she gets a yellow disc on the second, okay? Second time, but okay. So he obtains a yellow disc for the second time on her 5th selection. So she gets it on the 5th selection, but the rest yellow can be anywhere between these 4, which is why it's going to be, it can be anywhere. The yellow can be on the 1st or the 2nd or the 3rd or the 4th or the 5th, right? So it's gonna be 4C1 because there's 4 selections, and out of 4 she gets 1, so we're gonna write 4C1, and that will be with she gets a yellow twice, right? So 3 out of 7 square, and the rest she does not get a yellow, which means 4 out of 7, which means 4 out of 7 cube, and the answer is 0.137, which is your answer. Nice. So next question is that Tan has a bag containing 4 red discs and 3 green discs. He selects one disc from the bag at random and without replacement. This time it's without replacement. He repeats this process until he obtains a green disc. The random variable x is the number of discs that Tan needs to select in order to obtain a green disc. Draw up the probability distribution table for x. Okay. So variable x is the number of discs that Tan needs to select in order to obtain a green disc. Right. Okay, so let's just draw the table first. So, okay. Let's draw the table. Right. So, probability of, first of all, x, probability of x. So, it can be 1. The lowest can be 1, or it can be 2, or it can be 3, or it can be 4, or it can be 5. It cannot be more than 5 because after 5, all he will have is only one type of disk after you know trying out 5, because it's non-replacement, like it's without replacement, so it's not going to replace, it's going to keep decreasing by 1. So after 5, all he's going to get is just a you know red disk. All right, so the first time, if he, what is px equals to 1? Basically px equals to 1, that means the first time he gets a green disk, which is 3 out of 7. So this is going to be 3 out of 7. Px equals to 2 is going to be, first time he gets a red, second time he gets a green, which is 2 by 7. Hence 2 by 7. Or px equals to 3, and the first 2 times, 4 by 7 into 3 by 6 into 3 by 5, which is 6 over 35, or px equals to 4, which is first times she gets this, then this, then this, and then this, which is 3 by 35. And for 5, if you're confident with all these values, you can just subtract from 1. But just to be sure, you can find it individually and see if they all add up to 1. If all of these probabilities add up to 1, that means your answer is correct. That's the best way to check. Okay. But if we subtract 1 from all of this, you get 1 by 35. Alright, so now variance. To find variance, we first need to find EX. What is EX? You basically multiply this with this, this with this, this with this, this with this, and this with this. So what do you get? First is 1 into 1, so same. Second is 4 by 7. Third is 18 by 35. Then we get 12 over 35 plus 5 over 35. Total value we get is 2. For variance, we also need EX squared, which basically means you square this number, and then you multiply it with this, and then you sum it up, which basically means 1 square into 3 by 7 plus 2 square into 4 by 7. Into 2 by 7, plus 3 square into 6 by 35 plus 4 square into 3 by 30. By the way, guys, showing these steps does carry marks, so don't try to be smart and do this on your calculator. Please show the steps for the full marks. You subtract that from EX, which is 2 square. So what do we get? We get a 1.2, which is your correct final answer. Right, moving on. So now your probability question again using a tree diagram. So let's read this carefully. So drivers who wish to obtain an advanced driving qualification must pass 2 tests. Okay, a theory test and a skill test. Drivers must pass the theory test first, and they're allowed up to a maximum of 2 attempts to pass the theory test. The probability that any driver passes the theory test on their first attempt is 0.7, which is given, and the probability that any driver passes on their second attempt is 0.6. Drivers who are successful in the theory test are then allowed up to a maximum of 3 attempts. Okay, 3 attempts to pass the skills test. The probability that a driver passes the skills test on any attempt is 0.2. Okay. Complete the tree diagram to illustrate this information, showing all the possibilities. Okay. So how can this be done? So first time he passes, okay. For the second time, either he can pass or fail. But since there are 2 attempts, actually 3 attempts, so there are 3 ways you can do this: pass or fail, right? So the second time he passes is 0.2. That means this will obviously be 0.8. 0.2, same as this, 0.8. Each attempt, the probability of passing and failure is the same. Now, from here, it can be the same as well. Pass, fail, pass, fail, pass, fail. You get 0.2, 0.8, 0.2, 0.8, 0.8. Okay? Okay, now for fail, there can be, actually no, I think that's about it. Yeah, because if he failed both the attempts, or this branch won't really continue, since only 2 times on the theory paper, theory test. So it says, show that the probability that a randomly chosen driver passes the theory test on their first attempt and the skills test at their second attempt is this. Okay, we have to prove this. So how can we prove this? First attempt, he passes, so 0.7. And second attempt, also fails. First attempt. Oh, second attempt. That means first time he fails, and the second attempt he passes again. Okay. So if we multiply this, we should get, yeah, we do get this. Just the answer shown. Next question. Find the probability that a randomly chosen driver obtains an advanced driving qualification. That means he basically passes the test, both the theory and the skills. So how can this be done? Okay, so actually it's better if I change this. Hold up. Let me fix the page settings a bit. There you go. Right. Okay, so how can we do this? Well, so either he passes first try and he passes again, or he passes and then fails and passes again, or he passes, fails twice and passes again, or he fails once and passes, or he fails, passes, or he fails, passes, passes. These are all the ways this can be done. Okay? So, how can we do this? So, all the probability over here, pass and fail. Okay. It's better if I copy this here, actually. It's gonna be better. Sorry, messed it up a bit. Basically saying, wait guys, I'm just copy this bit. Copy this. Paste it over here. Let's paste it over there. Yeah. So looking for this value, and from this value we can figure out all of stuff. So how many ways can this be done? Okay, so the first is your 0.7 into 0.2 pass, or 0.7 into 0.8 into 0.2 pass, or 0.3 into 0.8 into 0.8 into 0.2, which is pass, then fail, then you pass again. Or it can be 0.3 into 0.6 into 0.8 into 0.8 into 0.2, which is fail, pass. Right, so if we add all of this, what do we get? We get 0.429, right? For this values, 0.02, right. Oh, we're missing one more, hold up, which is 0.3 into 0.6 into 0.2. Okay, now we're good. So when you add all these values up, you're gonna get this 0.429 3SF, so it's correct. Moving on, find the probability that a randomly chosen driver passes the theory test at the first attempt, given that the driver obtains the advanced driving qualifications. So he passes first attempt, given that he obtains the driving qualification. Okay, so first we have to find the intersection between the two. That means he passes and he, gets his license. So using this value, how can you figure this out? Well, let's just drag this here. Now let's see. So the intersection is actually two possibilities. All right. So the first possibility is that he passes, then he passes again, or he passes, he fails, and then he passes. Or there's a third possibility that he passes, he fails, he fails again, then he passes on his last attempt. This is all the way it's going to be done. Now we have to give this part over here. Oh, that means he only gets, which we already got on this part. So just 0.429. Simplify the value. We should get 0.796 SF. That's your answer. Moving on to the next question, where we have normal distribution. Okay. So a company sells bags of pasta. The masses of the large bags of pasta are normally distributed with mean, this, and the normal distribution. Okay. So normal distribution. What can we write? Mean is 2.40, while this is 0.18 whole square. Right. It's basically the variation. So in a random sample of 400 large bags, how many would you expect to amass less than 2.32? It's better to always, draw a diagram. It helps. So, diagram something like this. The mean is 2.40. Standard deviation 0.18. So where do we have 2.32? It's on the left hand side. And it's going to be less. So basically this part is what we have to figure out. So first let's just solve this how we solve any normal distribution. This is of course going to be negative, as you guys can see it's left on the curve. 2.40 by 0.18, which we get as this, minus 0.444, right? But since we have to find less than this, and this is negative, we have to subtract from 1. Using my calculator, or you guys can use MF19, anything works, you should get the same answer. You're gonna get this. This is a probability, but this has to be multiplied into 400, which we get as 131.44, which we can write as either 131 bags or 132 bags. I think both are acceptable, but 131 bags is more acceptable in my case. Next question is normal distribution again. The masses of small bags of pasta are normally distributed with mean and sigma are this time unknown. 80% of these bags have a mass less than 1 point this, and 40% have a mass less than this. So we just have to solve this simultaneously. So normal distribution, mu sigma square, right? So px less than 1.26 is 80%, which is actually 0.8 in terms of probability. And what else are we given? Px less than 1.08 is 0.4. Right. Okay. So how can we solve this? Again, first do this normally. Wait. 0.26 minus mu by sigma is 0.8. Right. So if we inverse this, if you guys have a calculator, it's actually way easier. So using the MF19, so we get a value of px is this. We get 1.26 minus mu by sigma is 0.842. When we inverse it, we get 0.842. So the first equation we have is 1.26 minus mu 0.842 sigma. This is the first equation. Second equation here is 1.08 minus mu by sigma is 0.4 due to the same steps. Which we get as in the calculator, it's easier. Minus mu equals to minus 0.253 sigma. This is your second equation. If you solve them simultaneously, you should get mu equals to 1.123, and you should get sigma as 0.164. Remember to round them off. 1.12 and 0.164 GSF. Nice. Now, eat small bags of castor are chosen at random, and the probability that more than 5 of the 8 small bags of a mass less than this is obviously binomial. This probability binomial distribution. The total is 8. The probability of mass less than 1.26. Okay. 0.2. We always seen that in the first question. If this is 0.8, then less is of course 0.2. Right. So px greater than 5 is p6 plus 7 plus 8. So basically 8c c6 into 0.2 whole square into 0.8 per 6 c7 to 0.2. Wait, my bad guys, this is 0.8 actually, my bad. It's 2 into 1 into 0.8 to the power 7 plus 8c8 into 0.2 to the power of 0 into 0.8 to the power of 8. Total value we get is 0.797. Answer. Nice. Is that the last question? No, that was the last question. Okay, this paper was relatively easy, I would say. Everything was pretty easy, nothing too complicated. Everything was pretty simple. Hope you guys like this paper very much. Hope you guys like this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below if you have any problems, and I will see you on the next video. Hopefully. Goodbye.